What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cars and Cigars. Tonight, we're going to chop it up on about 5 or 6 different topics that we have. Knowing us, we might go over a little more, so stay tuned. Let's have a little fun. So, Nikki, you're one of the most punctual people that I know. We tell you, yo, be here at 9 o'clock on the dot.
Literally.
8:59, my man's in the house. I wanted to get a little bit of insight. What do you do to kind of like have that perfect time management balance in life?
It's a good question. Time management is huge. Business, personal life. I try to plan out my day, just writing everything out on a calendar and setting goals, in a sense, to what I'm looking to do. So, first thing, always make your bed in the morning. As weird as it is.
No, I've actually heard that.
Wake up, make your bed in the morning.
Wait,
You complete your first task of the day.
wait. Yo,
Right? It's like a discipline thing.
you guys got beds?
You sleep on the floor?
Alright, you got beds?
Yeah.
This man's got a futon.
Damn.
So, first thing, make your bed, obviously. Then, morning routine, shower. Number 2.
For the guys, the 3 S's, I'm not going to say them all.
Yeah, that. And drink, and also, too, another thing that's big is drink a whole glass of water.
Yep.
That's
every morning.
big. You know, when you're waking up, you feel dehydrated, and I think water is a big thing.
You got to start your day off right, for sure.
Yep. And yeah, just planning out your day. Obviously, I'm a coffee guy. I'm assuming you guys are into coffee, but yeah, and then just going into work and just like I mentioned before, planning out your day and reaching out to people that you have to do depending on what your job is. Like for me, it's in accounting, so sending out emails, getting really started. I like to get started early in the morning. So for me,
Yeah, of course.
I'm a morning person.
That's kind of like at the shop. Like, we have to have a routine, you know what I mean? Like, this morning we came in, first thing, boom, jump on the first project that we had that had to get out earliest, and basically the way I schedule all our customers is first come, first serve basis, you know what I mean? Like, if you schedule an appointment with us on Tuesday, we're not working on the car that came in Wednesday. Like, that Tuesday car's got to get done first before we jump on something else. So we try to keep like that tight-knit schedule, If I have a customer drop a car off, we let them know, like, listen, don't bring it until we can take it. I don't want cars sitting around. Like, I need that structure. I need that time management because it's only going to help us,
Yeah, that goes with everything. I think it's not just only your business, but mine too. And I'm sure Chris could probably attest to it also, and Pete with detailing. Like you might go through things that throw curveballs at you, right? But you find a way to to make it work and talk to your clients or customers and it's just being open, having an open communication, right?
Yeah, of
so
course.
I'm sure you probably have like stuff that go through your business where you're like, oh, something happened here, let's
Overlaps us a little bit.
yeah, overlaps us. We can remedy this. We'll figure out a way to get it done. And obviously, as a business owner, you hustle. You find a way to get things done. And
The hustle is indeed right. We spent our fair share of late nights here at the shop. Last
how
night.
late?
Last night we left. I'm not even joking. Yesterday we got in around 9:30 in the morning. We left at 5 a.m. last night. We're just trying to knock stuff out. You know what I mean? Because I'm the type of person. If I promise a customer a deadline, I will do everything in my power to make that deadline. I don't wanna tell a customer, hey, 100%. Wednesday at 10 a.m. your car's out, but we didn't even get halfway through the job. Like we have a 335 in the lift right now, getting turbos done. It's not a tremendous job. We don't need 10 days to do the job, but I booked it for give us 5 days. Because if something happens on another car and we need to jump off, like, not that I would not finish the customer car that came in first, but it's like, hey, techs need a hand. We got to jump on something else as a team, or we got to finish another project. It is what it is. We have to have the ability to shift around. That's why time management is super important with scheduling. Like, I need to have that. Yeah, I need to have that flexibility because I can't get stuck. Promising. Listen, is it the end of the world? No, but that's not how I like to operate. I like to be very, very clean cut with.
You don't want to discount your word. I think discounting your word becomes spread yourself as someone that doesn't stick to their expectations, and things in life sometimes, if they could compile in both ways, they can either go down in one way or go up based on how well you do things.
Yeah,
You know,
no, absolutely.
everything is a matter of compounding yourself.
Yeah.
Like compound interest. You know, it's no different just in like the market. You know, with investing and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll touch on those topics today, but.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you know what's funny? I actually had a customer, I had a conversation with a customer the other day.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, why would I pay you when I can DIY this job myself? And I'm like, dude, honestly, you're 1,000% right. Like, coming up, all of us,
That's me,
obviously,
man.
we were younger. I have a shop. You're my best friend, bro, and you still DIY your stuff, you know?
1,000%.
And it's not that, again, being a business owner, I was a DIYer prior. I was a driveway tech, driveway mechanic, if you want, a backyard mechanic, whatever you want to call it. We just, we all started that way. I couldn't afford to pay the labor rates. You know, there were these prices 10 years ago when I first got my car. Couldn't afford that. We had no choice but to build our own cars. How many cars me and him built on our backs in my driveway, his garage? Like, bro, it's insane, you know? And so he's like, if it's an easy job, he's like, I'll just do it myself. And I was like, go for it. If you can do it, you feel comfortable with it. And this is a quick recommendation to everybody. Like, go for it. Do it. Don't be scared. Hey, God forbid something breaks or goes wrong and you want to bring it to the shop, bring it to the shop at that point. It's not like you were going to, you know what I mean? At least you attempted it. If it worked out, great, you saved the money. But now with the forums and YouTube and all these, what's the word I'm looking for? Sources. Like you can get anything done in a matter
I
of.
have a great story about DIY. So I was early in the days, just working on my 335 back, and I was installing a strut tower brace. And if you know BMWs, they have the E-Torques on the E90s to hold in the strut brace that go. It's like kind of like a triangular pattern, but it doesn't connect in the middle. So that strut brace would connect it, it would bridge it, and I forgot. Like you talking about the.
No, we just did his strut brace. That's why I was laughing. We just did his.
Yeah. So you know that these are E-Torques. I didn't have the E-Torques to do it, so I try to get the the corresponding socket to make it work. And as I'm doing it,
You're just spinning it.
no, thing is starting to slip. Thing's starting to slip. And I'm like, geez, man, like I thought I would be able to get this off. Turns out the thing slipped. I brought it to a shop, and the guy took a smaller socket, hammered it on, and turned it. But I would never have known until I go out to try. Yeah, that goes for most things. I mean, like you'll never be good at something without trying. You got to go out and do it. Even if you make the mistake, you budget it in, right? Like, don't go into something knowing that if, let's say, you break it, you're going to break the bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a problem, too, I feel like, with people who are modding their cars. They're not budgeting how much they're going to put into the car, and then they're left out with nothing and no finished build.
Yeah.
Right? That's
No,
huge, too. Like, I'm sure that, you're going to have builds that are going to come into the shop. They want to do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to be like, hey, man, like, you're going to do, this type of build. You need a budget for all the other supplemental items that go along with it, right? Like, perfect example on an M54, you're not going to do, let's say, turbos without having, your water pump possibly replaced, your injectors being a certain index, which is index 12s.
Spark plugs.
Spark plugs are a definite.
Intercooler, charge
pipe, all the supporting mods. Yeah, I mean that budgets into you buying a car and looking to modify it, but yeah, I mean.
So it's really funny you said that. I had one customer reach out to me. He's like, "Hey, this is my budget. I want to LS swap my car," and this gentleman was on point. He's like, "I need this, and this." So here at the shop we're doing our own LS swap. Obviously, we spoke about it in other episodes. So I kind of have like a breakdown of everything I need. It's an extensive list. It's not hey, we can get it done in a weekend. It's going to cost you $2,500. Swap it in, we're done. That's the farthest thing from it. But like this guy was on point. He knew his numbers. He knew exactly what he wanted to pay. He hit it to a T. And then I have another customer that hit me up, and they were like, hey, we want an LS swap too, but we have this budget. Look, we made a list of everything we have. Boom, we're done. All we need is the labor. I'm like, dude, you missed injectors. You missed your ECU. You missed this adapter plate that you need. You missed this accessory. Like, I just added $4,000 to this guy's bill in a second. And he was like, all right, I can't afford it. Never mind. Scrap that idea. And I'm like, I would love to help, but I can't pay for your parts.
No, and there's different types of buyers. There's different types of people who get into cars, and they're also relying on you in good faith to do the right thing and tell them like, hey, look, what should I do with this?
Yeah,
What's
some
the
guidance.
what's the right path? What type of build do I want to go into? Do I want to spend, this amount of money, or, do something else and hopefully it works?
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So-
the first place I start is what's your goal?
Right.
Are we going for 1,000? Are we going
Right.
for 1,200 horsepower? Are we going for a drift build? Are we going for a track build? Determine what you want out of your car first, whether you're DIYing it, whether you're building with the shop, budgeting. Figure out your game plan. I'm indecisive. I've changed my build on one of my cars 4 times in the last 2 weeks, because every time I do a little research, I'm like, oh, maybe I could do this. Maybe it'll work out better this way. So, I set up, I don't know, I like Excel. It helps me stay organized. I set up, a whole budget build list. This is what we're doing. This is what it's going to cost. This is what I need. So on and so forth. And I make different scenarios. What if I did a track build, a drift build, this build, that build?
Yeah, what would it cost? What parts am I throwing
Exactly.
at it? What are the quality of the parts that are going to go in it? How long will it last?
The other thing is time-wise.
Yeah.
We have customers that are like, hey, we want to do this. All right, we need 2 months to do it, or 3 months, or 6 months, whatever the number is. And they're like, oh, that's too long. I'm like, okay, so have you thought about going this route? We can do this in 2 weeks. They're like, oh, we like that much better. Let's do that. So things change in the snap of an eye. You just got to be mindful and stick to your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I know everybody's like, oh, go out of your comfort zone, but it's like, you're talking finances here. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you can afford the build, properly do a build. I have customers. I turned down 2 customers already. They were like, oh, we want to do this, this, and this. I'm like, it's not going to work. The car's going to break, and then you're going to come back to me saying I broke it. I can't do that. It's not that I can't, but I'm not going to put my name on something that's not going to work out. The last thing I want is customer pays me all this labor, parts, this, that, the whole nine. I built this guy a car. 2 weeks he calls me, hey, you were right, it broke, but help me this, that. He can't afford it. It's not what's the nice way to put it? I don't mind helping anybody. You know what I mean? But it's we have to be realistic. You know what I mean? You can't build certain cars without certain parts, without certain things. It just
That
doesn't
overlaps
work.
into everything in life, though. For example, Pete, right? You're detailing a car, and they're going to see a car where the paint is trashed, right? They're going to ask for a simple wash and maybe a spray wax, right? But maybe the paint is not decontaminated, and when you throw the spray wax on it, it might not hold up to the way that it probably should if, let's say, if it was decontaminated and it had an iron,
Right.
removal or a clay.
Right.
Right. So certain things will be a better result if you go the extra step to maybe
Yeah.
you charge the extra price, and it will
Yeah.
last longer. I know that for a fact. Me being a DIY, me being a car enthusiast, really where I lean more towards honestly the detailing side than where Sal is kind of on the performance. I've been huge into detailing. So for me,
All the boost.
yeah. So but I always think that a car that looks good will always grab the attention. So for me, if let's say I spend the extra time to do a strip wash, to do the clay, maybe a 1-step see throw
Damn,
a good
doing 1-step corrections for fun?
yeah, man.
Literally.
I got the
polishing
patience
for fun.
for it, man.
I got
The
the
porter
patience.
cable,
Yeah, patience,
the
too.
old days.
Ooh, porta cable. Good machine.
I know you got the roops, but
Nah, porta
7424
cables.
XP, right?
Yo, that porta cable, badass little machine. Thing
That
works.
that had to be like a detail starter kit, right?
It was.
It's mandatory.
So
what company would you get it from?
Auto
Auto
Geek
Geek.
usually.
Auto
That or
Geek.
Chemical Guys?
Chemical guys. Yeah.
Nah, I never bought anything from Chemical Guys, even though they were super.
They were big back in the day, man.
They were big back in the day. They're still big, but Auto Geek, that was my go-to.
Yeah,
Auto Geek.
Detail
Auto Geek.
King or whatever it was.
Detailed
Detail King,
Image.
too.
I
Image,
used,
Detailed
yeah.
Image.
Detailed
Yeah.
Image and Auto Geek were my 2 go-tos.
Yeah.
Yo,
Detailer's domain.
This is Chinese to me. Talk to me in turbos. Give me horsepower.
Nah, too much power. Let's lay it
Someone
back.
say I have no.
Let's
torque.
relax a little.
I
Let's
have
slow
an
it down.
S65.
What happens when you're at the red light? People be staring at the car.
My cam is chopping away and I'm jiggling like a piece of jello, bro.
Yeah, okay. no,
That's what happens at a red light.
I don't know.
Yo, so all right, you're all into detailing. Me and Chris are you're that modest balance. You just
Yeah.
want a nice car.
It's got to look good, but it's got to perform at the same time.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, I think we're on a general consensus that the way we specifically build our cars is pretty high end. We don't like to cheap out on stuff.
Listen, the motto is a great motto. I kind of try to live my whole life by this, but it's buy once, cry once. That's it.
Always.
Just buy
For sure.
the best you could possibly afford from the jump. Don't try and cheap out. If you know something is better, save your pennies, a couple extra weeks or months or whatever it may be,
everything.
and just do it the right way from the jump, first time, and you don't have to worry about it. I hate buying things
Twice.
twice. It drives me up the wall, which we got into a little particular with Melania back there. That's what I'm calling her. Sorry, but Melania back there. I bought some active headers and I got a deal on some Super Sprint Step V1s, and
I mean, listen, that was unexpected, though.
totally unexpected. But
The
Hey, I
Super
didn't hear
Sprints.
about this. What happened?
well, I bought the active headers. I installed them, the whole
Yeah.
nine. Everything.
Guy made me get them ceramic coated too.
Whoa. I was very adamant on getting them ceramic coated.
Yes.
He picked them up for me. It was a very nice gesture. But
Thanks,
you know,
buddy.
Gesture.
what's it called? So literally like what, 2-3 days after, I found a smoking deal on some Super Sprint V1 stepped headers, which make the most power on that car. And
I was
So what's
so pissed, bro. I call him. I'm like, Chris, it's done. This thing sounds sick. Peter washed it. Like, yo, come pick up your keys. He took it for a rip. Yo, I'm not even kidding. So he left it here. He's doing the driveway at his house.
yeah,
2 days later, he's like, hey, we got to pull the headers out. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, yo, I got Super Sprints, bro. We're going full Super. I was like,
yeah, going full.
So what's so special about the step? Why are they called step? Like, what's the?
So it's a step manifold design. So
Okay.
obviously smaller diameter piping. Once it hits the merge collector, it expands into a bigger pipe,
Oh, right,
diameter
okay.
pipe. But with BMW on the S54 at least, for whatever reason, everybody does, I think, 60 millimeter piping,
Okay.
which is like 2.3 inch, which factory piping is 2.25. So it's like, how
A
much?
little bit
Are
size.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you really gaining? And
nothing
there's-
noticeable.
Yeah.
Is that throughout all six pipes that are coming out of the exhaust?
No, so it comes
manifold?
to a merge collector, and
Okay.
then you're going to have two pipes out of the header from bank 1 and bank 2, and they're going to be 2.5 inch. Then you have to mate it to Super Sprint's custom, well, not custom, but their race spec section 1, which is 2.5 all the way through. And then you could use whatever section 2 you want, but Super Sprint also makes a quote unquote race section 2, which is 2.5 true dual all the way through. So it's a true dual setup all the way through, all the way to the back box, full 2.5 inch piping. And if you look on forums, Facebook, whatever, like
Yeah.
whoever puts down the highest NA dyno numbers on the S54s are running pretty much full Super Sprint setups.
Interesting.
So, yeah, sorry, Junior, in the back. I know he's working on the E38, but he's going to be put back to work real soon.
Such a gangster car back in the day.
Once
Still is,
once,
bro. It's
once
more
those Super
gangster
Sprints
now.
show up, sorry, Junior. On both those actors, list those bad boys for sale, and yeah, they got one heat cycle on them, literally, if that.
Not even kidding.
Like maybe a half a heat cycle.
Yeah.
I drove it
Around the
down
block?
around the block, brought it back, and parked it. It's been sitting ever since. It heated up. And,
You didn't even get it up to temp, bro. There's no heat in them, bro.
yeah,
That was a quarter of a heat cycle.
yeah. So yeah, be on the lookout. I'll be posting them in the Facebook group or on M3 list or something like that, because those will be up for sale for a relatively decent price. So, yeah. That's the.
Here we are again.
Yeah, that's my buy once cry once story. Whoops, I kind of.
So it's kind of like American racing. You have to run their header with their mid pipe. You can't mate it with something else.
Right.
So like their section 1, you can only run their section 1 with the header.
Correct. Yeah. Well, it comes in one piece, right? If I'm not mistaken, it comes
It's 2 pieces technically, but
It's really
it only fits that way.
exactly. Plus, it's a 6-to-1 merge. So like
Yeah.
what are you? Who's making that? Who's making that section pipe?
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
6-to-1 merge.
Did you guys
Nobody.
see the?
Forget about it.
Did you guys see what Driftworks did with the E46?
Those headers, those V10 headers?
Oh my god!
Yeah, those
It
things
was a
are
10-to-1
bonkers.
collector, right?
Insane.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, I think
Bonkers.
it's running through the front of the car and then it goes under, right?
Yeah, they look like not look like, but it reminded me of the Medusa headers on the E39 M5 from Evolve. They're just pipes everywhere. And I think the
I don't
V10
know
one,
how-
they're all equal length, right? They're
Yeah.
they're
They're all equal length.
sick fab work. Shout out to the guy who did those, because those things are
Yeah.
beautiful.
from drift
I wouldn't
bikes.
even want to put those on the car. I just want to like hang them.
They're so pretty.
I know.
So pretty.
He had
So
such
pretty.
a such a like an iconic video from YouTube when he first did the swap on the S.
I must have watched that video
oh,
probably
man.
500 times.
He's sitting in the seats. He has like the race seat in. He's talking
It
to the
like
camera.
wraps around his head.
He's like,
He's
hey
just
man,
ready.
you know, if you press this valve, he goes right under the car and he clicks it. He revs the car. You know, it sounds loud. Then he presses it again to open up the valve. This thing screams. Does a donut inside the parking lot. Yeah,
That video was awesome. Sick swap too.
That's like the dream swap. I've always wanted an E46 with an S85 in it.
yeah.
There's a black one, right? That
Yeah.
video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
video
black.
was crazy.
But yeah, YouTube
Love
just
that
has
one.
like YouTube. Like we were going back to like the DIYs. Like I learned everything through YouTube. Like call me like an amateur, but I feel like it kind of gives you some ammo going into like a place where, you know, if they're not up to speed with some stuff, YouTube might be ahead of its time for some shops.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned more on the forums in my childhood days, like building cars 17, 18 years old.
Dude.
Yo, I used to sleep on the forums.
Knowledge is
are
power.
like, my parents are like, you don't read this much doing your homework, you know? Yo, I used to read the forums all day, bro.
Yeah, you could give me a history
Yeah.
book. I won't retain any of that information. You give me like a DIY post on a forum. I retain almost every piece
No.
of
And
information.
three
from
posts.
it.
But the best is, bro, back in the day, like, I used to go in my laptop, put it on the engine cover, and I'm like, all right, read. I'm like reading as we go, wrenching.
Yeah.
That's how we learn. And now, you know, like going into an Ep.4, bro, I could do these turbos blindfolded. You know what I mean? Like, we ripped everything apart. Turbos are basically about a drop. I don't even know how long, bro. We just ripped through it. You know, we had it out in a fraction of time. And it's one of those things, like, what's that quote I'm looking for? So, like a little backstory. Like, bro, you go in, a guy does a job in 15 minutes that should take 2 hours. You know, and they're like, "Why are you charging me so much?" And you did it in 15
Oh,
minutes.
you're not paying for the time it took to do it. You're paying for the knowledge and all the.
You're paying the years it took me to learn how to do it in
you're
15
paying
minutes,
for
something like that.
You're paying for
Yeah.
the experience that it is taking me to figure out how to do this in
And
15 minutes.
it's true.
It's true. It goes through everything. Like, you know.
Years of wrenching has helped me get through jobs now, and you know, people are like, "Oh, you know, it took you that long." Yeah, because we've been doing this for how many years? You know,
Well,
like
not only that, you know, you have your utilities, you know, whatever rent you're paying, your insurance, the people that you're paying for. Like, people don't get that, you know, you have to charge a certain price just to break even, you know? And
there's a lot of overhead. You know, like
Yeah.
people think. So right
Yeah.
now we dropped our. I'm not gonna say drop. We're running a new sale for Thanksgiving month for the month of November. We're doing crank up specials for $2,700. That's all in, out the door, hub parts, labor, the whole nine. All OEM gaskets, hardware, everything. You know, and you know, if you really break down those numbers from like a business owner's perspective, bro, we really don't have a lot of profit in there. You know, we're a good 85, 90% of that just in parts and labor. You know what I mean? Like, got to keep the lights on, you know? And at that point, it becomes a volume game, you know? To even make any profit between, you know, obviously paying my guys, I have a staff of 5, 6 guys, you know, plus me and Peter. It's a lot, you know? We have to really overturn some volume. And that's not what we're going for, you know? So I'm not head cracking on jobs to make a ton of money. We don't really care. Like, obviously, yes, we run a business. We have to make some sort of profit.
You
but,
gotta stay profitable, of course.
Sure. But we want to stay profitable so that way we can, give back to the car community. I don't care to make $1 million, man. We have more fun doing this. Like we said the other night, I left the shop at 5 a.m. But you know what? I left with the biggest smile on my face. 2 customer cars that we delivered. One we delivered 2 days early, and one was about 5 days early because we got a head start finishing something else quicker. It's the best feeling, man. People come pick up their cars. This is my boy, and I gave him back his keys after the headers. He was like, he had the biggest smile on his face. He hasn't driven his car in so long. He got it back, like, fully done up.
Finally.
He was ecstatic, you know?
Yeah, it's 3 years in the making.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a simple starter job turned into pulleys, tensioners, belts.
While we're in there.
Yeah, while
While
we're
we're
in
in
there.
there.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
preventative this.
Yeah, prevent this, prevent that. But
Yeah.
it's it's all a game. Just do it while you're in there. So,
While we're there.
while you're in there.
yeah, I mean, you know, your shop, I think, is like kind of, you know, transitioning into allowing new ideas to, you know, develop, right? Like, you know, you can, let's say, for example, right? Like you have a truck, you know, if let's say someone's car breaks down, something happens, you could provide white glove service. You know, go pick up the car. You can bring in here. You know, you're someone that's trustworthy. They could trust you to work on the car.
So we've done it. We've picked up. We've been
You have
open
any examples? Yeah.
for about a month and a half now. We've picked up what 7 or 8 cars with the truck and trailer. Like
Yeah, trailer's pretty cool.
it's just so convenient, you know, because we have customers. They're like, oh, we're working all day. A lot of people, obviously, because of the pandemic, they're working from home. They're like, we don't have time. Like we can't leave to come go. But they're like, you know, if you could pick it up, of course. We go truck and trailer. We go pick it up, and we're good to go. You know, so. Perfect example, one of my buddies, Charlie, we picked up his dad's 98 Eclipse GSX. This thing was beautiful, you know, not running. The car's literally been sitting for 10 years. We threw it in the trailer. Mind you, it was a downpour. Yo, me and him got soaked, bro.
It was like a monster.
Yeah, it was at the shop when you guys picked it up.
Yes, you were here that night.
Yeah, I don't know where that rain came from.
Bro, soaked. But the worst part was, so our trailer's not done yet. We're building cabinets inside. We're putting down flooring.
The winch is not even in yet.
Yeah, exactly. The winch isn't in yet, so it's not like I can just hook it up and pull it. Bro, we got soaked pushing this car, and the way we parked, we were like a little bit of an uphill. Oh, that killed us. But you know what? It was all worth it because we finally got the car running for the customer now, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
It comes in
He
handy.
was super happy.
I think it's nice to just be able to try and offer as much as you can for people. You know, every time someone texts me, like, like, hey, Pete, what's going on? How you doing? I got this, like, whatever project that they got. And it could be detailing, it could be performance, it could be like some, you know, other maybe a more oddball request. You know, I had someone ask me, hey, you want to like clean the car up, take pictures, maybe put it on eBay or something. I never did that. So I was like, all right, let's explore that, see what's involved, you know.
Yeah,
I like just the journey of like, you know, you either meeting people or you're rekindling, you know, flames with old people, you know, when it comes and coming through like the car scene.
Yeah.
I've had so many friends reach out, just like, hey, how you been, this and that, and they want to come by the shop and see what's going on. And then they get stuff done, and it's nice. It's like, you know, an added.
Yeah, and the referral business goes
Yeah.
well. You know,
It
and
just-
it's
Yo,
it's a
listen,
good time.
owning 2 businesses, being a partner in the 3rd business, like the one thing that I learned is the best thank you can get from a customer is a referral.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Referrals are cool.
That is the
100%.
best thank you can ever
it's
get.
the best form of marketing and advertising.
Yeah, word of mouth. We had a customer come in here, drop a car off, and he came with a couple of his buddies. And next thing we know, like they came back to pick the car up. They were ecstatic. Their buddy's like, okay, we want to see how well you did on that. So we exceeded, obviously, turnaround time. Customer said we did an excellent job. I'm not trying to, you know, sound
If you're confident.
cocky or whatever.
Blow your own head up.
Yeah, but you know, like we did a good job. Customer was super happy. We did it fast. We exceeded all his expectations. His buddy's like, hey, cool. Here are the keys to this one. It's in a lot. I'm like, I was not expecting that. Like, but then again, going back to time management, I'm like, dude, hold on, time out. I want to take it. Obviously, we want to do the job for you, but let me see where I can fit in the schedule. So he's like, I didn't have another opportunity to drop it off. So this is one of those circumstances, like we spoke in a couple other podcasts. I don't want cars sitting around that I can't tend to. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot full of cars sitting outside that are just sitting there. Anytime we take in a customer car, it's like, hey, you come in, your car stays indoors. If it's not that night when you drop it off, or morning when you drop it off, or whatever your scheduled time is, we get to it obviously ASAP. Sometimes things get caught up on a lift, so maybe 2 hours later than your appointment time, we'll get you up on the lift. But that's if you're dropping cars off. We're typically, right now, we're appointment only. We're not having people bring a car, wait for it, watch it, yada yada. We've only done that for one car so far, but that's like the easy stuff, oil change, or you need a set of plugs swapped, you know, the simple stuff. But anything else, drop off only, because that gives us the ability to give you the best turnaround time. Because obviously a customer doesn't want to sit with his car till 8, 9 o'clock at night, but we don't mind working until midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to get that job done, pick it up the next morning, you know? Yeah. If we tell you 2 days, but you pick it up in a day, who's not going to be happy about that, you know? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true, right? You know, like we were saying before, time management is key. It brings, it's always the number one thing that goes through every single day for me, that someone who's very busy myself, and, you know, I have to prioritize my time, you know, like you probably see that with the real estate business too, right?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Scheduling is everything, you know? I know in our peak season, we were showing 10, 12, 14 houses a day, dude. Like, obviously all within vicinity of each other, but it's like, you have a half-hour slot here, half-hour slot here. You can't be late because there's another showing right after you. So then you dip into their time. Like, you have to be on point, you know? So when I was working with clients, telling them, I'm like, guys, please, punctuality. We have to be on time. If you want, I'll pick you up, I'll drive, I'll do the whole nine. We have to be on point. Because if we slack, throws off the listing agent's entire day. Can't do that, you know? So it's just a courtesy too, man. I think time is worth more than money in today's day and age. Like,
Huge.
it's not, I know I've had appointments with some people for certain things and it's like, oh yeah, well, 5 minutes away. All right, cool. 4 hours go by and I'm sitting there like, you know, and me a few years ago, new in the business, I was like, all right, let me just shut up. Whatever, like, I gotta get my feet wet, I gotta get to know people. Now, nope. I'm here at 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You're not here by 3:05, I'm gone. I don't have time. I can't sit around. Because now that time that I killed to get to that spot, waiting for you an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, and then my travel back to my next appointment.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, it's very disrespectful, you know? So, you know, I no more Mr. Nice Guy. You know, I work on my own schedule. If you can't match my schedule with an appointment that we made together, you agreed. I didn't force an appointment on you, you know?
There's a meeting of the minds.
Exactly. So, if we say, if I tell a customer, hey, drop it off at 8 o'clock at night, I'm here. It's not like, drop it off at 8, oh, hold on, I'm leaving my house now, I'll be there in 20
Oh, I
minutes.
had that happen, man. The worst.
Can't do that. Cannot do that.
I showed up at a shop at 10 o'clock. The owner wasn't there until 11. I'm waiting inside the parking lot for an hour for this guy to show up to do an oil change on my car. It's like, dude, you were supposed to be here like an hour ago. Like, where are you?
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
You would have been done in a half hour and already on your way home.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
there's one thing that I don't like to do. It's just my own personal pet peeve. I don't like to go under the car. It's just my own thing. I'd rather pay a shop to go under the car. God forbid something happens. I don't like to take the risk, but...
So that kind of ties into DIY, like I was saying before. Stay
Right.
within your comfort zone. You know what I mean? If you can't do, let's say, a motor mount or I don't know, a downpipe job or whatever, you got to go
God
under the
forbid.
car. Don't. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. I'm not saying you don't have to come here. You can go wherever you want, but just stick within reason. You know what I mean? Stay in your comfort zone for certain things because. I've heard stories, cars fall on people,
Bro, it's
get
not.
like badly injured, lose limbs.
Well, that's why they call, what is it, the jacks that come with the car, the Widowmakers? They call them Widowmakers.
Yeah,
You know?
really?
Yeah.
Those scissor jacks fail all the time, man.
Yeah,
It's
those
just
little
scary.
scissor jacks.
crazy.
Yeah, they call
Scary.
them Widowmakers. You know?
Use it if you're gonna be on the outside of the car, like looking at the jack. But I don't trust it, man. I don't trust it.
Yeah, I mean, no, not at all. Especially the hand jacks, I don't know.
Even
You
with
gotta-
lifts, man, we have to be cautious. We make sure we lock up.
Yeah.
Have all everything in proper order. Make sure you're on the jack pads properly. The whole nine. Like, there's a lot to it, man. We don't. All my lifts are ALI certified. God forbid something does happen, we're covered.
What is that? What is it?
ALI?
What does that stand for?
That I don't know. I have no idea. All I know, I forgot. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's a certification. God forbid something happens, and let's say I have to call my insurance guy. Listen, knock on wood. I hope nothing ever happens, but we're covered. Because like I could have went and got a cheap junk lift for $2,500, $3,000. It's not covered. Cable snaps, car falls. I have technicians under it. I cannot play that game, man.
Goes back to Chris's point. You buy once.
Yeah.
Buy once, cry once.
Buy once, cry once.
All the heavy equipment that we use here at the shop, like we have an alignment rack coming. We're only going Hunter. We're using Challenger for our lifts. They're all fully certified. Like, I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that game. It's not worth it. Buy once, cry once. I'm done. I paid the bill. I don't have to worry about it. Thankfully, they'll pay themselves over and over, but, it's not worth the headache. Stay within your comfort zone. If you can't DIY properly or you don't feel safe DIYing, don't do it. It's not worth a couple bucks. How many busted knuckles and messed up hands and
It's fun to mess around, and then it's another thing to like completely.
within reason.
I think there's some DIYs, if you really mess up, it's a costly repair.
Yeah.
Right? Like I know for sure if you mess up the threads on spark plugs, ooh, you're in it for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
The cheap way out is tapping the head. The expensive way out is replacing the head. Like it's just,
Dude.
And
but then think about everything else that goes
about
into it.
Why that happened?
Twice.
Wait, talk about it. I don't even know what happened.
My Crown Vic. I had an '08 Crown Vic, which I somewhat recently sold,
Okay.
like 6-7 months ago, and What happened was that the two valves a 4.6 came in that car, 2-valve 4.6. The Mercury Marauders, they came with the 4 valves, which is like a non-supercharged Cobra motor. But regardless, all of those 4.6s and 5.4s across the board had issues. Where the spark plugs, the threading, I think there were like minimal threads in the actual pocket itself. Like
Barely.
that was
Barely.
holding, right? There
Oh,
was
they're not
barely
like the
any.
thicker gauge like threads.
No,
that-
bro.
Yeah.
It like threaded in that much. That was it.
Oh,
It was
Oh
tiny.
yeah, you were working on it with me.
Me and you, we
It
were
was
trying to tap it in front of his house.
So what happened was the first time this happened, I shot the number 8 plug, I believe it was. I shot it like I was driving home one day from work, and I'm cruising, and I'm doing like 60, 70, and next thing you know, my car is just cruising, and then you go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it starts like, it wasn't even a misfire. It didn't feel like a misfire at first. It just was doing this crazy like stuttering noise, and then as I was slowing down, I was okay, now it's struggling to come back up to speed. So I was like, yeah, no, now it's misfiring, and the lights flashing. I'm like, this is good. So
I know that they had problems with spark plugs. I didn't know it was that bad.
So I go home, pop the hood, and it cracked the coil pack.
Jeez.
It spit the plug. The motor literally spit the plug right out. So call my boy Ryan, RCT Performance. Shout out to Ryan. He I always drop off, and I have no time to fix it. I was working and stuff, so I went to take my girl's car, and I left my car at the shop, and he was just like, "Oh, dude, this thing is shot." But he fixed it. He was able to retap the head for me. I was like, "Dude, it doesn't have to be a perfect fix. Just make it happen. Let me drive the car, and that's it."
True.
And he got it. He helicoiled it, and it came out perfect. Drove it about a year and a year and a half later. Another one, but not the one he worked on. His was fine. The number 2 spark plug shot out, but this time it cracked the coil pack again. But it was so much worse this time. It absolutely destroyed the threading.
That spark plug went to the gulag.
Right, like inside the head. So
that
if you
plug
ever
was all bad.
the helicoil kit, I went to try it myself, and I never did one of these yet, but we got the biggest size it was or whatever, and
We had basic knowledge of it. It just
it just wasn't going, and
just wouldn't work.
and then I listed the car for sale, and that was that, and I was just.
So when you're rethreading it, do you have to put an oversized spark plug in it or no? Or is it?
Well, the
as soon as you-
helicoil,
no.
it's supposed to rethread, and then you put a sleeve in it that is threaded.
So you're basically you're boring out
Yep.
where the plug goes.
Okay.
In the head, and then like you said, you're basically tapping in a sleeve.
Oh.
So that sleeve now has the thread that you need. They make different size sleeves.
Right,
depending
and
on
it's
how many
holding
times you have
against
to
the thing that you already
Yes.
thread, and then you can put the
Yep.
spark plug in. Got it.
I think the Ford problem is from minimal threads, and also the metal itself is so soft. I think it's aluminum heads like most cars, I think, right? So that plus the plugs are steel, aren't they?
But
I think so.
I don't remember what those
I
were.
think so. It just regardless that temperature change over, especially me thrashing on every car I own.
But the best part is the car ran.
Oh,
Dude,
that
you
thing! You
it
could-
runs,
that
drives.
car.
Imagine turning a BMW on with an unplugged coil.
Oh yeah, good
Dude,
luck.
that
Now
car,
imagine running it with no spark plug in it.
I could
Insane.
drift
Can't.
that Crown Vic
Can't.
with no open head.
Yeah.
I could drift it if I wanted to. That
Ridiculous.
tanks. That's what the police department used them for a reason. Absolute tank. I do kind of miss that car. Maybe down the road again, love it. No, I'm
Yeah,
not
but that would
I
be
need a
like
lighter. I can't go 4,000 pounds. in it.
Crazy coyote
I
swap.
need a lighter car. I need something the size of an E36 or smaller.
So what you should do is take the motor out of your current car and put it in E36. We had this discussion while we were going to get
Yes.
some ice cream.
Yes, currently I do have an 02 Tahoe, so that's was that Gen 3 technically?
Gen 3.
Gen 3, 5.3. That would be fun. So it's getting close to 200,000 miles now. And I was telling him, I'm like, yo, we should just do a video. Let's rip it out the truck, refresh it up. He's like, you should do that when we put it in a drift car. I'm like, you're right. I'm going to get a car now. So now I got to go find a car to slap this thing in.
I know a guy.
Yeah. I was thinking of other projects though that were different. I was looking at Z4s.
C4 is dope.
I kind of
I feel like that's such an underappreciated BMW, right? Think
I
about the
mentioned-
Z.
Yeah.
The Z4M.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh.
think about the Z4M, how
Yeah.
rare those are.
That-
Super rare.
Yeah.
S54s in them, which is sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, but the Z4M coupe is
There was
Super
one
super
guy
rare car.
when I worked at a place in Lake Success. He parked this Z4 literally right in the corner. this thing was just collecting dust. And I was just like, damn, man, you're not driving that thing? Like, what are you doing?
I
You
figured.
gotta hit him with the Sally. Yo, what's the number? Cash.
Driving.
Cash.
Like, we talked about like the dream cars the other podcast, and I said the Z8, and I still hold that. And it's like the Z4 kind of like is that little. Oh, I kind of want to be a Z8, you know. So let me let me rock it. You know, get a Z4. It's not that far off.
It's
even though
like,
it's
you
not
know,
a Z8,
yeah.
but still. But that car I always thought was a good size. Like if you want to do whatever you want to, long the hood. I feel like you could like unless it's
big.
It looks like you could fit whatever you want under the hood. So if you're gonna swap a motor,
I feel like the Z4
the balance
now.
of it.
Yeah, I feel like the Z4 now with BMW doesn't hold the same presence as it did before.
not like an 04,
Now the
05
Supra
Z4.
has kind of taken that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Supras right now are wild amount of car for your
What do
money.
they say about the Z4s? Like it's a hairdresser's car. It's like the hair.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they call
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
like a hairdresser's car. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The SLK was that. They used to
Yeah, the SLK was that, and now
then
it's like the
Z-
Z4.
True,
Yeah.
I forgot about the SLK.
Or the Miata.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miata
Miata.
was supposed to be a hairdresser.
Now I see a lot of young kids rocking Miatas with like the tops down and cages poking out the top.
And I love that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, do you?
Yo, I can't even fit in a
Kids
Miata,
going to
bro.
college.
You're joking.
Yo, kids hang their
I can barely fit
backpacks
in
on
an
their road
S2000, and that's
cages.
bigger. I know for a fact that's a bigger car than a Miata. I could barely fit in an
All
S2000.
those cars just shot up in value though.
Dude,
It's like,
S2Ks, big.
Find
money,
a
man.
clean one, like a nice
Insane.
AP1, AP2.
Yeah,
Dude,
like
my
30
boy's
grand.
dad has one.
30 grand, bro.
I think it's an AP2. It has like
AP2 is like 40
23,000 miles on it.
Oh,
like
60
things are
grand.
all original. It's been maintained by the
Wow.
dealership. Like the thing is
What color?
mint. It's like that it's like this 335 color, like this that graphite gray
oh yeah.
with the red interior. Dude, thing is, I told him I would buy it off him. He's like,
Imagine
nope,
if
I'm
Honda
not
made-
selling. I'm
See,
never
that
selling.
money I'd go for an
Sounds like
NSX.
somebody I know.
Yeah, well, me, yeah.
I'd look for an NSX if I was going into that money territory.
NSX, dude, are fucking.
Because like
they
if you're
are
talking
through
low
the
mileage
roof,
S2000,
though.
low mileage S2000s, I'm seeing $50,000-$60,000.
What's the NSX?
Hey,
That's got to be what, 90, 100?
Between the Gen 1 I saw with a little high mileage starting at 60s, 70s,
Yeah,
and
well,
then the
I mean,
Gem
it's a
was-
Honda. It's a reliable,
the gems,
reliable car,
you know,
right?
But I probably would never buy a gem car unless I really had like, you know, the expendable income, I guess, where I'm gonna have a car that just sits and takes up space. But like, I would probably buy like a more higher mileage car just so I can at least know I can enjoy it.
It's like
You
knowing
don't feel bad putting the mileage on it.
Yeah,
You know? It's
that's-
like,
It's
all
like
right,
knowing what we call the specs of a car, right?
Yeah.
What makes the specs special about a car? I feel like, I don't know, would you agree that maybe like sometimes the specs overhype the value of a car though?
Yeah, I mean, take my F80 for example. Verde Mantis, one of 21 ever made. Bro, not for nothing. I have 6 or 7 cars right now. That car I can take out anywhere, anytime. Snap stacks. I've had non-car people, older people. They're like, "That is the coolest color we've ever seen." They're like, "Did you wrap it? Did you whatever?" I'm like, "No, it's factory paint, you know." And no matter what, it's gonna hold its value. You know, my opinion. I don't know. That's just me. But then again, it all comes down to like supply and demand. So like right now, we've been in this panorama for a couple of years.
Panorama.
You know, and people couldn't get brand new cars, and that threw everybody off. So it's like, now what do? We have to turn to the used market. You know, everybody was paying, bro, not for nothing. People were paying 997 Porsche prices for
G-Wagon.
regular F80s.
That's a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
nother, yeah.
G-Wagons is a whole different ball game, bro.
Oh, I think meant like
G-Wagons are
GT3
not in my tax
prices.
bracket.
I thought you were saying, I thought you were gonna say like GT3 prices they're paying for like G-Wagons. Like I saw,
Oh,
I saw
yeah, yeah.
G-Wagons going for, I saw
mean,
the highest
G-Wagons,
G-Wagon,
yeah.
340 I saw.
G-Wagons you
Yeah.
could have got, well, now we're getting to the accounting tax guy. So people were buying G-Wagons because of what's called a 179 deduction. So the weight of the car would allow you to write off the whole entire value of the car, and that's why, and not only that, but I think also too, Mercedes was discontinuing the G-Wagon for those years, right, or something, and that's why the value shot up. So like, you know, the market, you just never know what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, like what, G-Wagons or what, like MSRP are like 214, 220
Yeah, they
or
were
something
going for like
like that. They go
350,
like
400
three,
grand,
yeah,
right?
they were going 100 grand over sticker. It's
Dude,
like
imagine seeing
nuts.
someone in a G-Wagon and knowing that you could have bought a Lambo for that money.
Forget
It's
that,
like-
that's a down payment on the house, that truck. That's a full-blown house.
Yeah, but like, I from a business perspective, I
Crazy.
can get it. You know, like
Yeah.
I can understand that
That's
that
why
concept.
they're doing it.
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't justify that. I couldn't justify that even in the slightest bit. But from a business perspective, I get it. He rather go spend 400 grand, 300 grand, whatever the number is on a car. At least he gets an asset out of it. You know, write it all off, knock down your income, and you get something.
Oh yeah.
Go sell it in a year. You know, you're not going to lose value on it.
No.
And that's why I think
Not
spec
in the
is.
current market, no
Yeah,
way.
that's why I think spec is super important. You know, like
Get a
Yes.
6x6.
I paid.
Oh, I love
That
those.
thing
A what?
is a
6x6. The
Oh.
Brabus 6x6.
people who
Some,
buy, you
some
know?
damn Bilzerian stuff right there.
Yeah, dude. those
Yo,
things are
hold on.
sick.
Speaking of G-Wagons, did you guys see that video of Whistling Diesel?
No.
He took his G-Wagon on the track.
Yes.
Yo, he slams through a tire barrier. No regrets. He literally slams through
Yo, not
a
to
barrier.
mention, he paid like the market price, like $315 or $350 for it.
Yo,
he
he
did
drove right
all
through
these
it.
upgrades
Yep.
too. He did like 1,200 horsepower turbos on it, like all Akrapovic exhaust, all this stuff. And did you see the first
That
video
thing
was
was
I think the
moving.
best. The first video when he's ripping it through the sand dunes, he jumped the
jumping it.
thing like 90 something feet, and like
Crazy.
it was sick. I loved it. He thrashes
That's the goal.
everything.
I
he
love that
does.
kid, yo. He puts his stuff through the ringer every single time.
You got it.
You know, he don't care. That's what I like about it. He just does not care.
Oh, it was
Anybody
heartbreaking
who
when I
hates
saw
on
him.
man.
With TJ Hunt's Lambo?
Yeah, dude, that was wild. Because I watched TJ's vlogs and, you know, him building that whole entire Huracan from the ground up, you know, spraying it, British
Custom
Racing
color,
green.
everything, yeah.
I mean, he put a lot of money and time into it. It's like, I know it's for entertainment, but it's like, it's almost, I know, and another thing too is like you're selling it to a person as is, whatever it is, and it's all the people that put in the work to make that car what it came out to be, and then this guy just buys it and just destroys it.
That's you know what? He's probably making more money off that video than
I know,
when
but
he
it's
paid
like-
for the car. You know what
it's
I
such a
mean?
bummer.
It's just like, but you know, he's in the position where he can do that. You know, us, we had TJ Hunt's Lambo. We're gonna be like, yo, this thing's not leaving the garage. You know, like 'cause I actually like TJ Hunt's Lambo a lot. Like that thing was
Comes
sick.
out to
Super
spec,
clean.
super desirable. Like there would
Right.
be a really high demand for that car, and he got the number that he wanted. You know, it all makes sense.
Yeah, I think he said in the video too. He's like, "Please don't crash it," or something like that. Or was that the guy with the R8 that he bought the R8 off of? He's like, "Please don't crash it, please." It's one of the two, but it was really funny, man. And he's just Whistling Diesel. Just
I
thrashes.
wonder if specs will matter once the market corrects.
I mean, the market's already starting to correct. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like,
No, you're good.
I'm already noticing correction. Like
Yeah.
cars are price dropping. People are coming back down to reality. You know what I mean? Like things got so inflated.
Interest
so
rates.
quickly. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
interest
look,
rates are nuts right now.
Crazy. How much is a 30-year fix?
right now, mid sevens, upper sevens. You know, we're expecting another hike. I think Q1 of 23 will be at almost 10% for sure. I'm not a gambling man, but I'd put a lot of money on that. But then again, I think it's all going to come back down. You know, everything's going to come back down.
Even auto loans are like 5.5%.
And I think it's
6%.
even
I got 1.79% of my F80, bro.
me and you
Yeah,
did.
Yeah, actually, we bought cars together. So we bought cars like
not no more. Not
no.
no more.
So my same bank that we got those interest rates on are now high fives.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't use auto loan, and I'm like, listen, it's a car, whatever. All right, little bit of interest doesn't matter, but it's like,
Makes
dude,
a difference.
We almost tripled in interest. Just on an auto loan. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, if we want to, let's say, go into houses, you know, there's a strategy to, let's say, when you have high interest rates, you're
Negotiate
as
better.
the buyer, yeah, you can negotiate. You find a price that could work for you, and then if you feel that, let's say, the interest rate is going to go down, you refinance.
So, right now, for all the people that are looking to buy houses, I'm still dealing with buyers and sellers and stuff like that on the real estate side. As crazy as it sounds, and I don't want to sound like a salesman, because
You're not.
you know, yeah, but to the average Joe, it comes off that way. It's like, oh, this guy just wants to buy a house. Who cares the interest rate? No, use that to your advantage. We were selling houses for 6 figures over asking. Now we're getting houses for 30, 40, 50, 100 grand under ask. You know, like sellers are starting to realize, like, hey, rates went up like crazy. Buyers should be taking advantage of this now. You're better off saving 50 grand on the house. 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, refinance. There you go. Now you chop your payment down and you save the 100 grand. Yes, don't get me wrong, you're going to pay that X amount interest over those few years until you refinance.
But
But it still shouldn't accumulate to the price that you saved off the house. So in the end, you save, and you have more leverage on getting what you want, which is kind of like cars. Every peak pandemic, people were asking insane prices.
Crazy.
Every dealership, even now, they're still trying to get over ask on some
Because
cars.
they have the inventory and they got to get rid of it, but eventually the price is going to come down. It goes with any market.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all supply and demand. So going back to what you said about spec. Peak pandemic, you had that spec, you were getting top dollar.
Crazy
doesn't
money.
matter what it is. People were paying it.
What was it? I think.
It's like I'm bringing a trailer.
Bring a trailer, but even I think over in Germany, if I'm not mistaken, don't take this word for word. Take it with a little bit of grain of salt. But German bankers, over in Germany, whatever.
What about Porsche?
They were just saying buy old Porsches. You're making more money on the old Porsche than you are in the market. Period.
And they're right.
They were doubling, tripling their money, whatever it was, depending on what car they're buying. Even look at now, new GT3 RS, 992 GTS, GT3 RS, excuse me. Dude, people are paying $70,000 just for an allocation on top of the price of the car. I'll buy your allocation off you for 50, 60, 70 grand. It's
That's
what?
an insane market, though. Those are people that are just just overpaying.
Someone put
They got it like that, They don't care.
I showed you the other day.
Someone put a 997 GT3 RS 4.0.
4.0, right?
It was number 300 something out of
600. It was only 600.
He was
made.
asking $825,000.
$825K.
Yeah, and
Yep.
he said he got offers for 8 and turned him down. And
how much was that car new? Does anybody know?
he put the sticker on it. It was 208, I believe.
Crazy.
And it's just
Bro, sub $250,000, and you're asking just under $1 million for it now.
it's how do you even?
What year is it?
It was a 997, so I don't
was an
remember
11.
the year.
Was
11?
997 probably? Yeah.
It was
I think
black.
it was an 11. I don't remember the ad.
It was black with
It's
a red,
gorgeous.
stunning spec. I mean, black with this red livery going down the side, the doors
Sick.
and the graphics, and I think what red interior, whatever. This thing was sick. I mean, absolutely sick car. I don't know what that's worth.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
I don't know
I
what
don't
it's
care
worth.
how rare it is. You're taking a $200,000 car and it's not worth $800.
To be honest, I can't even tell you what. I always thought a car is worth what someone's willing to pay for it, and it's
Of course.
which I think maybe it's just an influx of just rich people. Is it an influx of you got kids who are able to make money on,
Sometimes some people.
Twitch
Crypto
and
and
YouTube
NFTs,
crypto,
bro.
NFTs. There's
There's
so many
been more
ways to make
millionaires.
money. I feel there are ways to at least make $100,000 a year. Something just to something to spend all your money on a car. Their kids, they'll be living in their parents' basements still, but they'll be driving around a Lambo. But these things that
Well, honestly, some of them are sound investments. Listen, I wouldn't
that
hang
car
out.
they sell it. They got a down payment on a house.
E30
now.
M3 10 years ago.
Don't get me started, bro.
E30.
Tell that
forget
story.
about it.
Tell the story to
I
the
was
podcast.
16 years old, 17 years old, and not even, bro. I was probably 15 years old right before I got a car. I'm like, Dad, let's go buy an E30 M3. I found a shell. I'm like, I want to restore it completely myself. Shell. Dude, I was getting there for $3,500, $4,000. My dad's like, where are you going to park a car with no motor?
Yeah.
It's not like I had a shop. It's not like I was renting on a car. I didn't have a car at the time.
And let's say if an E30 M3 was running and driving, you could get them for 10 grand.
Yeah,
Probably 10.
15 for an
15.
immaculate one.
Yeah,
15.
Now, add another one in front of that 15.
Yep.
Not even kidding. I have very close friends of mine that own E30 M3s. And had you asked them maybe 4 years ago, 3, 4 years ago, 5 years ago if they would have sold it, $35,000 and wow, they doubled their money, that was an investment. Ask them now, they're like, yeah, if you don't come with, 6 figures at a minimum, don't even bother.
Yeah, those don't really get affected by the market. They kind of hold their own.
It's those niche cars,
Yeah.
like the Porsches, the E30s, E46s, bro, they've been on a steady uptrend for what? 10 years now?
Yeah.
Not even exaggerating. They've literally just up and
Definitely
up
in
and
the
up.
past 5, they've definitely.
Oh, they skyrocketed.
Rocket.
Yes,
Yeah.
5, yeah.
But that's we spoke last episode, the Supras, MK4 Supras. Bro, they were 35, 40 grand all day. You can pick and choose whatever you wanted 5, 6 years ago.
Listen,
Legit.
they're not.
Yeah, 60 grand for a fully built one with 1400.
Yeah.
is
They're
wild.
not worth.
And that was the high side.
A lot of
Dude,
these cars
people
aren't
used to
worth
shit
what
on
they're
the E36. Nobody even wanted an E36 M3.
$5,000 all day, running,
$3,000.
driving.
$3,000 for an E36
And you can
M3.
pick and choose, whatever
I
spec
know,
you
which
want.
is crazy.
Now,
Oh, cheapest ones that I've seen with like 190,000 miles on it, like 4-owner at E36, 14,000.
yep.
Mark my words, the E9X will be next. The last V8 M3.
Only V8 M3.
The only
they're
one.
only VA
First
Yep.
and last, yeah. But I mean, see that's a car where you need a specific spec. You know, like I have a Grigio car,
A stripper.
stripper spec. You know, individual paint colors. Those are the only cars that are key value. CRTs, Lime Rocks, all the limited cars. That's where you'll retain value. Otherwise, I think, you know, they're getting cheap. They've gotten cheaper over the years, and now because of the pandemic, obviously everything shot up. But pre-pandemic,
Yeah, I need them to go back down. I kind of want one. Shout out Syed, but I kind of want an E90.
Remember the Jerez car that you had?
yeah.
How much was that car back in the day? Probably like
I
maybe
bought-
27, 28 grand.
I paid $26,000 for that car, full bolt-on tune, 6 suspension setup, the whole line. I drove that car for, I'm not even kidding, a year. It was an 11. It had 65,000 miles when I bought it. I didn't put too many miles on it. I probably put like 15,000 miles on it. So I think I sold, or just a smidge under 80. I sold it was like 78,000. I actually got 25 grand for it. 28.5. I meant to say 28.5 for it like a year later. I enjoyed the car for a year. Obviously, I kept it mint. I keep all my cars pretty clean. I drove it. I tracked it the whole line. I was still able to get my money back, and I sold it stock for that price too. By
True. You took the Club Sports and then you put it on
the white car.
on the white car. 6 suspensions.
So I was able to take that setup and throw it on another car, and I retained value, you know? And Jerez was, so that just kind of goes to like supply and demand. When everything started like, you know, trending upward, bro, nobody wants Jerez. Like, you
Such
ask,
a sick color.
but you ask any, I love the color, because
Such an
mine looked
underrated
like
color.
purple. Mine looked really, really purple. But you ask anybody, like, what's the least desirable BMW colors? Carbon black, Jerez black. Period. Everybody will tell you that.
Titanium silver.
That too.
In
For the E46, yeah.
That too, but like, bro,
Funny, I actually find those to be such like nostalgic colors. Like that, like the silver. But if you have it perfect, like that car has got to be perfect. Like absolutely.
That's like the poster car for the CSL.
Like
when you see
nobody
a titanium
damage.
silver.
Like looks
I
like.
don't know if they made it. Did
No,
they
it
make
was
it to-
like silver gray.
Silver gray and black. I think are the
Okay.
only colors available
Okay.
for the CSL.
Oh, that silver gray
That
was
was-
sick.
that was-
that's like the M4 GTS. White, black, gray, frozen.
Isn't there
gray.
orange? Isn't there like some sort of orange?
No.
No, that's the Lime Rock. You're thinking Lime Rock.
Lime Rock, yeah, it was orange.
39X.
And the what's the other one? The Lime Rock and
The GTS?
The GTS was
That
orange.
only came in Europe, I think, or the outside markets outside.
GTS
of
was
Europe.
only Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I mean, listen, I think all individual specs in the long run, no matter what the market is, I think will hold value, me personally, but you're gonna start seeing all the average Joe cars, all the, like the non-individual cars, little by little, they're already starting to price drop. Some people are starting to price a little more realistically. But you know, it's just the market we're in.
I think spec, while it has the impact on price, I think spec is more important for actually attracting the buyer. You know,
Yeah.
which obviously, but
I mean, listen,
it's one
regardless.
thing to negotiate pricing, but like,
Yeah.
the second you even put a picture up of just a solid spec car, it's just like right away you're gonna have so much traffic. Just
Yeah, it catches the eye, you know.
Yeah, and then-
It's funny. You get these kids that have like E9Xs with 160,000 miles. I know what I got. I want 35 grand for an 08. Like, no, my dude, you don't know what you got.
That's
You
why.
gotta- yeah, let's just
Yeah,
leave it at
clap
that. You know.
Clap
And
that
I,
junk
yeah,
box.
and I think for the next podcast, we should talk about how social media has ruined the card game. I'm dead serious when I say that.
You're 100% right. I'm
And
not
we'll
going to
leave
disagree.
that conversation honestly needs like a good 30 minutes to talk about and how it has ruined the industry.
Yeah, because I mean, listen.
I wish I grew up during hot import nights, like 2002.
Oh, those are the good
Nah,
ones.
not that bad, but
2003.
Those are the
Yeah,
good
I got-
old days,
I had
man.
old school
not
magazines.
that bad, bro.
I got old school magazines, bro. Like at home, they're sick.
Oh,
like
yo,
the classic stuff.
speaking of going to that era, so you were with me and Junior. We went to SK to go pick up some parts for the vet.
Oh, the book. Where is it?
Bro, I don't know. I bought a book, and it's literally like a, what is it, 100-page book? How to modify an E36
How
M3.
to maintain or repair and modify an E36 M3, and it's literally like absolutely perfect.
It's a whole book.
It looks like it's perfect.
Yo,
Everything.
brand new.
Like crisp.
They had it sitting there on the shelf. It was $20. I'm like, I need this because I want to take both of my E36s. They're gonna be perfect by next season. I want to bring them to some shows, and I literally want to showcase that book like right in the windshield. How to repair,
Just
maintain,
flex.
modify an E36,
Yep.
and stick it in there. Because listen, I don't want to blow my own horn, but I have two really, really like clean E36s.
Sure.
And I think they're a really good example of
slow
like.
cars. No, I'm just kidding. No, one's not slow.
No, but like I think that's gonna be like the perfect piece. And when you put something out like that with one of my E36s, I think it's an instant winner.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for how
Yeah,
bad,
yeah, build
social
a clean
media.
one.
Yeah, for how bad social media can be, it can also be for good too. So.
Yeah, I mean listen, some editing, any car will look like $1 million,
Sure.
you know? But so I guess we'll leave it at that. We'll talk about social media next time. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like, comment, share, subscribe, send the link to your friends, everybody. We'll be back next week with another episode. Peace.
Peace.